I don't know if I'm live. I don't think this is working. Let's find out. I am having so many problems. This is a new computer. I got it well, not new, like a couple months ago. My other one died. Oh Lord, Windows, whatever the current version is so terrible. Nothing works right. It's been an ongoing, like, nothing works right. Really frustrating. So I don't have everything set up the way I used to. So, you know, this will be, we're calling this a practice run, but I have coffee, so it's okay. I need coffee. Okay, let's see. There we go. I think we are good. We actually don't have many submissions tonight, so if you are a Patreon member and you are watching live, if you're watching this after the fact, it won't work, but what am I getting? Why are you ringing my doorbell? Hold on. Let's go see what this person wants. Go, get.
Hi there. How are you?
You can't read?
Oh.
Okay, bye. They ring the doorbell. They're clear. I cannot stand when solicitors do not listen. Like, I have a big sign on my front door that says, no solicitors, don't make it awkward, don't ring the doorbell. What does she do? Tries to ring the door. But Vivint Security is like the sleaziest of all security companies, if you're not aware. Like, you look into some of the stuff they do. Holy crap. Go lay down, boys. No, we don't need you to protect me from the Vivint Security people. But they are the most, like, super, super sleazy company. So the fact that they get these, and I feel bad for the girl, she needs to go get a real job. Vivint is not a real job, sorry. But yeah, crazy. So that is my, yeah. Anyway, I like being super nice to people, except when I have a huge no soliciting sign and you ring my doorbell anyway. One, that's against the law. You're actually not allowed to do that in this city. The solicitation people have to follow very strict rules, and they're not. And one of my favorites is, I know, we're getting into the actual video, but one of my favorites is they like to come and claim, but I talked to your neighbor. So, same thing with solar panel companies, sleazy companies. Anyway, let's move along and stop making rude comments, which is what I just am doing. So let's see. Tonight we are going over your submissions. If you have not, if you're watching live, there is, go over to patreon.com/Lachri. You can still submit, because I don't have that many submissions right now. I know I've been out of doing this for a while because, you know, I had to get the whole computer set up and I couldn't climb back there when my foot was broken. It has been just super drama. Anyway, yeah, Maria said, yes, your neighbor just did this or bought that up. Like, why would I care what my neighbors do? I mean, I can see the idiots that bought solar panels, which is the worst investment you can possibly do. So, you know, I will die on that hill. Seriously, it is so bad for your house. It is so bad for so many. I'm not saying solar panels don't have a place in the future. They're not there right now, and you go into super, like, it is crazy how much that you get scammed getting those things, and it causes damage to your roof, and it's a whole thing. But anyway, that's, like, I can see what my neighbors you talk to. Well, not in Vivint's case, but anyway, Vivint also is super sleazy. Side story before we get started, while I wait if anyone else wants to send a submission. The Vivint Security, one of the things that they do, they pay, so they get someone to sign up for their crappy security company, and then they pay the people. You get a bonus if you go into your HOA and tell them how amazing the service is and how much you love it. They are paying people to post advertisements, which is against the law. You can't do that. You have to disclose if you were paid to promote something. Like, you guys see me do this all the time on like Instagram. I just did the paid thing with Lyra Rembrandt. I have to make sure it says sponsored. Like, you can't, Vivint intentionally does not follow through, and I do not know how they've not gotten sued all hell for that. It's so crazy. But yeah, there's my rant. We started the video off with a rant tonight about Vivint and solar companies. Do not get scammed by them. They are both horrible, horrible things. In very, very rare circumstances is solar going to be, basically, can you afford to buy solar out of pocket and not finance it? Then good, and don't put it on your roof. Those are the cases where solar is a good thing. Anyway, I apologize to those of you who have fallen for that unfortunate solar scam that currently it's not where it needs to be. Anyway, moving on. So tonight we are starting. I have one from Allison, and let's see. Let's go ahead and switch this over. Even like nothing on this, my cameras were freezing. It has been a very stress. Nope, that's not the one I need to change. This. Let's move you way down here. Okay, my gosh, here we go. We are good. Okay, so this is from Allison. And Allison, so before we get started, all of my advice, like you should always be super proud of whatever you create. My advice is not to make you feel like, oh, I'm not good enough, I didn't do great. Oh, good, Allison's here. Yay, Weasels on Easels is Allison. So some of you guys, I am sure, have seen her work. She's wonderful. So also, seamstress extraordinaire. Lord, the things this girl can make. Anyway, moving on. So, any advice I give to any of you guys who submit, always be proud of what you create. When somebody is giving you advice, this is just advice I'd give to my own students. It doesn't mean my opinion is the only opinion. These are just bits to hopefully help you grow and move, your art the direction you're hoping to. So let's, let me see. Arts with Ryan said, hey Lisa, I recently joined your Patreon. I submit my artwork for critique now. Would I be able to see it and give me some feedback? Yes, send it right now. If you go to patreon.com/Lachri, there's a post that tells you where to email the submission, what information I need. Go ahead and send that right now, and I should have time, should not be a problem getting to it tonight. Okay, so Allison, this actually was posted on her Facebook page, and I believe you did Copic markers for this, correct? She said, does this look like, no, this wasn't sent to me, this is what she wrote on her Facebook, so there you, it's not exactly all the questions that I asked, but normally, so if you're like, why doesn't that make sense? Because it was a Facebook post that had nothing to do with me, but I harassed her and was like, hey, that would be great for the critiques. Anyway, she says, I'm learning to draw things out of my usual subject matter, and to get away from being bound to only reference, I want to learn to draw things and develop my own style beyond just being able to copy a photo. Let's see, 2025 has been a year of getting out of my comfort zone and really pushing to start bettering my artwork. And that includes drawing new things and practicing that. Is this a good start? Yes, it is a good start. It is a very good start. So here's the thing with water and why I love this, because we're on to a really good start with this. But what we want to do, if you look at, let's see, is this showing what it needs to show? Can you tell I'm really frazzled? It has been just seriously the last couple of months nonstop, and this week has been exhausting. Moving on, and I was sick to top it off. So anyway, when it comes to water, so these are Copics, and this is pretty small, so you're not going to get a ton of detail in that, which I think is really good practice. If any of you guys are having a hard time with, let's say it's water, it could be a stream, it could be like a bit of a lake, or looks like lake water to me because the green, could be wrong. It could be a rose petal, feathers, eyes, whatever. Do smaller studies like this. This can help you to learn and understand your subject matter so much better. My second tip for you is when you are trying to get into more stylized work and not doing so much with the realism, make sure you have a very strong understanding of that subject matter in the realistic version first. And the reason that I say that is it's much easier to build a style once you're really good at something realistic, like you understand the anatomy of a wave, the anatomy of water, or whatever subject matter it is. You need to be good at that before you start doing the stylized, which Allison certainly is. So we're starting off in the right place there. But make sure that you understand the anatomy of that subject before you try to stylize it too much. It's going to make it much easier. Because what often happens is if you start with the I just want a stylized version, that often comes from somebody who is, they're not wanting to learn to do it correctly, if that makes sense, because it seems hard to do something super realistic. Seems really hard. But if you can learn to do it correctly, it actually makes it easier to come up with a stylized version. You don't want your stylized version to be stylized because of a lack of understanding of what that subject is supposed to look at. Picasso's a great example of this. He started out with insane realism. His work was phenomenal before he got into the Picasso style or Cubism and all of all the crazy stuff that like he is so well known for, but he understood the human form. He understood all of that, all of his subject matters really, really well before he got into the more stylized that he is so famous for. So let me see. Does she need submissions? Yes, Lily, I need submissions. Submit away. So let's go ahead and get into this now. Now, the water shape, the form is good. The thing that we want to adjust, let's talk about what I like here. That we got lighter as we move back, we're darker towards the front, that's great. The movement, the horizontal movement, the side to side, that's something that a lot of people miss when it comes to water, is that they do too many vertical lines. It really should be long horizontal, short diagonal, long horizontal, short diagonal. You want to get this type of movement where it's long this way, short when you come back down, long this way. We've got that, so that's really good. Now, where we come into needing to make some adjustments. Right now, this water is flat like this. It's not, I don't know, yeah, my hand should show up. It's flat like this instead of being flat like this. Like, we don't want this water, we want this water. And yeah, there's hills and waves here, but right now, if we were to take cutouts of all of those pieces and stack them up, it looks the same. We want to make sure we're creating depth in the way that the water, the anatomy of that water. So let's go ahead and, oh, I don't have my brushes. I don't have anything on this computer set up right. So let's see if I can get this in here. Let's go, what is the highlight on this one? The lightest point is nearly white. Not quite, let's pull this over so you guys can see it too. There we go. Okay. So let's pull you, I'm going to pull the opacity down a bit. So what's happening right now? All of the white highlights are on the tops, which is what's making it look flat. Those highlights are actually on the flatter portions. So we want to, instead of having highlights there, I don't have this is going to be annoying to get used to. I have a thing that I normally dial my size of the brushes up and down on, and that is not currently set up correctly because it takes hours to do. Oh, come on. Whatever. You're just going to have to work. Nope, you are definitely. Oh, my undo button. Oh, Lord. I don't have an undo button. This is going to be. My undo button should be this. Hold on. I've got to fix that. I'm sorry this is taking so long to get started, but this is definitely not. Is this the one I need? No, that is. Pen. This is not a double click. This should be. French fries over there going boop. That's a new thing I've taught him. I touch his beak and he goes boop, but he also usually follows with good baby. So he sits over there going boop, good baby. Yeah, he's doing it now. Let's see. No, he's laughing. Come here, baby. French fry, come. Not boop, come. What was that? Oh, I don't remember how to set this pen to undo. Clicks, middle click, down, right click, keyboard. Let's see if that did it. Nope. You know what? We're just going to do a quick search. There is no way I'm getting through tonight without having my undo button on the pen. Like I thought I had that set up. Let's see. I need welcome tablet properties. Okay, we got that. Pen. Once that guy, open the center, launch the application, select your device, choose the tablet, access the pen settings from the device settings. Yeah, wait. And we have an eraser, but that's not what I need. Assign the keystroke, keyboard keystroke, keyboard keystroke. That's what I did. Choose the, I didn't, okay. You gonna work now, or do I have to like hit OK or apply? Oh, maybe I didn't do that. Was there, no, I think I did that. How do I make it? I don't know what you mean by make it apply. There's no OK. Options. Are you going to work now? Let's see if I pull it up, if it's still there. Yeah, it's there. I might need to... Grok. Oh, I didn't even think of asking Grok. This one was just a Google question I pulled up. Do I have to like shut it down though? That is going to be rough. Nope, the undo is not doing anything. It's actually just making a mark. But what if I... Nope, still not. Oh, this is going to be rough. I'm just going to have to figure out how to do it on its own. I am not getting that. I mean, I've done what it said, but unless it's also lock 'em center, pro pen click. Yeah, it's set to be right. Do I have to like... It's set correctly. It just isn't doing it. And I don't know. I might... You know what? Let's try this. I'm going to close Photoshop and reopen it and see if that makes any difference. That's the only thing I'm going to try. Otherwise, we're just going to move on as it is. Where is... It is a night. You and I don't know which one I opened it as. What are you? 4N. Okay. Nope. Ah. I don't know why it's not working, but okay. So this will be fun. And let's shrink you down. And this isn't even catching. Lord, I thought I had all this set up and I do not. Okay. I still can't do undo. That is going to dry. That is going to be the hardest thing because you get so used to like, this is just how you do it. So it's going to be very hard for me to make edits and such tonight. Okay, let's go ahead. So going back to, so sorry, Allison. So going back to this, what we really want, instead of having those highlights on the top, we're going to extend those out into something more like this. Let's actually tone that opacity down. Maybe not that much. But see how where you're going to have different areas of where the water, the light is catching, and if you look at our reference photo, it's basically everything behind the dark part of the wave. So that's why I'm pulling this behind, and they're not really waves; they're just hills. And we'll pull a little bit of water kind of crossing, or the highlight crossing into those. Now the highlight is not always quite this bright, but here's the other thing that is going to make your water a bit more, I know you're going for stylized, but still follow the anatomy a bit more. Your darks need to be a lot darker to make it look shiny, to make it look light. Okay, at least I got the second layer in there. But let's keep moving this. I don't want the peak to be that sharp, or if I, oh, don't hit undo that way, it won't work. If I do want to break up a peak, see how I pulled this in? Let's actually enlarge this a little bit. Oh wait, maybe that part works. Can I enlarge? Whoa, look, I got something that actually works. It's a Christmas miracle. Up enough that you can see it, there we go. And I'm just gonna continue. See how I'm getting the flat parts? Instead of having just white highlights on the upper crest of each of those curves. And this is something that you can get to where you will not need to be that dependent on a reference photo, but you want to be dependent on a reference photo while you get a full understanding of that, the wave anatomy first. But like for me, this is one of the things, I have done so many waves, I'm not as dependent on a reference photo as I used to be, for sure. Let's go a little bit bigger. Oh no, not on opacity. I want you to be a little bit bigger. I'm having a hard time getting that to, there we go. And obviously take more time than what I'm doing. But see how I'm flattening this a bit? And sometimes your hills or your waves will, or ripples, whatever, will have more sharp points to them. But even then, it's not quite that much. See how I'm going to round that off, pull in a highlight this way. Now, as we get back here, yes, it gets lighter, but it's really not even so much that the water is lighter. It's that the white or the highlighted areas get closer together because we're flattening out as we go further out, so not as much of the dark is showing. But the dark here is almost as dark as what you have here. It's not that big of a difference. So you would want to continue the dark, but the white or the highlighted areas get closer and closer together, which is why it looks like it's getting lighter back there. It's just that those are kind of like if you have bricks upright in a wall, they're all even, but when you flatten them out, they look bigger or thicker towards the front, and they get super close together as you move back into the distance. And water is the exact same way. So I'll be coming through on those darks and really darkening a lot of that up. See how instead of having just the white caps, we want to get the highlight where the light is hitting, where it's flattening out. That's where your reflection of the water is. Also, wow, thank you so much for the super chat. Oh, Conejo. Wow, I haven't seen Conejo in a while. Thank you for everything you do, comadre. I took Spanish classes and you would never know it. If you ever need more Baracha pencils, just let me know. I love those. Conejo is the one we can all thank for my obsession with the Faber-Castell Perfection erasers. He introduced me years ago, like, I don't know, what, 15 years ago? God, I've known you for a long time. He sent me a box, and those are the green ones that I have from Mexico, so they're printed different. They're still Faber-Castell, but the printing is different on those. He's the one who got me hooked on those, so we can all thank Conejo for that. But thank you so much. So see how I'm smoothing that up, but I'm still going to break some of that up. And while I'm not exact to the reference photo, I am getting more of the anatomy of that wave. So we get more of that look. Now these ones up here, I can actually lighten up a lot. So I still have them, but I'll show you in just a minute what I mean by lighten them up. So I'm gonna darken some of this because right now, everything's about the same as far as lightness and darkness. One of the things, actually, let's make a new layer. Can you see now, Allison, why I was so excited when I saw this photo? You were actually the reason I was like, I haven't done a critique in a while. I have to do a critique because I want to show her this. But let's see. I try to do the critiques, by the way, for Patreon. Should be once a month. Just everything that has happened lately health-wise, everything got pushed back, and then I had to get a new computer. Obviously, I don't have the computer set up right. So we will go back to doing that once a month, and those once a month live streams are like free. Everyone, even if you're not a Patreon member, you'll get to watch those. But Patreon members are the ones who can submit every week. There's no, or not every week, every month. There's no limit. You can submit every single month. Let's go layer. So the next thing that I want to do is darken up some of these. So I've got two things. One, this I actually want to tone down a little bit. You're not an eraser. What are you? Why are you not clicking on the thing I need you to click on? Oh, because nothing works. Okay, I'm seriously, this is motivating me. I need to get all my tools set up because this is super frustrating. I'm going to lower my opacity by a lot. I just want to lighten, because I'm on the wrong layer. I want to lighten this a little bit. So I still have that highlight, but let's just tone these ones down. We're up closer. It's not quite as bright. And then the other thing that I really want to do, actually I do want you on top, moving you back where you were. Okay, now going back to the pen. Let's go with, so here's one of your colors. We need that to be way darker. I mean, there is actual black in there. So this is what will make your water always look more shiny. Get your darks, like say water, metal, glass. You want black touching white. I mean, right up against each other. Not everywhere. I mean, you're not going to put black everywhere. But we do need that in order to start creating that contrast. Even here, I need to go darker than that. So see how we'll start pulling some of that in there. Again, I'm being super sloppy, super messy. What time is it? Oh, it's time to go see your friend. I think Dad's coming. Oh yeah, he's doing French fries doing laps. Go see your friend. You almost had a French fry in your head. So we're going to keep darkening some of this up. Again, this would be so much better if you take a bit more time than what I'm doing here. But I mean, even as a study, this will work really well. For this time of night, French Fry goes and hangs out with Nugget. Every night, that's why he's been calling for him. He gets so excited to go see his friend. Anyway, so see how it starts to look more shiny? Now, as I move back, I still want some of the darks that you previously had here. Let's pull some of these back in here. The darks are still there. They're just closer together. They're more flattened out. So that's, you're not seeing as much. You're seeing more of the white just because, again, the way it flattens out. Some of this I'm going a bit too big, but you get the idea. So you would still have darks back there, just like up front. And then I'm going to go back to our highlights. And we're going to just, actually that needs to be a lot smaller. See how they're just really close together back here? So that's what gives you that flattened out look. It makes it look like it's lighter. You're just seeing more of the light catching the waves. It's not that, like, the water itself shouldn't be darker. The water itself, there's less of the dark, but you still have dark, just as dark as the foreground, just not as much of it. So see, as we get forward, it starts spreading out. You've got bigger gaps, so more of the dark shows, but it's still there. As you move back, the white is just closer together, but you still need the dark in there. I don't even have it dark enough in a lot of that. I mean, you'd still have some with way more dark than what I've got. And water is definitely one of those things as you're building up the style for it. Now mine is super, actually I would, let's do this. Let's do it with that one. I'm just gonna blur all, not that much. What did you just do? Undo, undo, what are you doing? Oh, that's why. Calm down with that. We just wanted a little bit of a blur. Let's pull this over here. So it's a little bit softer. Mine was pretty harsh because I'm using the wrong pen. But there we go. And if you look at then, the original. Now look at how much more you start getting the movement of water. Mine is super sloppy, not as good. I mean, yours is obviously cleaner. But just the anatomy of the way that the light is going to hit the top, the flattened parts, not like cap waves. If you hit that, basically that's kind of what it looked like you were getting is like white caps, but that's not the water, like the reference that you were looking at. We want to get that smoother, softer look. And I have seen you work, you were great at blending, so that will be no problem for you. Just soften the edges a little bit too. So you don't want like a white highlight. Now, that said, we do some super white highlights that are very crisp, and we would do that. I really wish I had my everything. Nothing is what I'm supposed to have right now. But why are you choosing? Oh, because I have it on eraser. User error. And I'm gonna, you can do a few sparkles. Those can be more harsh and more bright and not so blended. This is another, like, dots are your friend with water for just looking a little bit brighter. And I always group my dots together, not just random polka dots everywhere. But that can give you a really cool, just make it look super shiny. Putting that through in other locations. It would be better if my white in the foreground wasn't as bright as what I've got. That should be more translucent. But it gives you, you can see the difference in the anatomy of the wave in the two. It's not just white highlights. It's like white is thick. It hits the whole surface that curves down. Okay. Let's see, we had some questions. But great job, Allison. Please share with me. I can't do this again, like next time you're bored. I really, really want to see what your next version looks like because you've got this. Like, you're already doing a great job. So I really, really am looking forward to seeing what you do for your next one. Okay, next. I don't have anything saved yet. In my shine spots where I did the dots, they didn't show up that well because I was too light in the foreground. If I made my foreground darker, which I should have, then those white sparkles just pop so much more. Okay. And somebody I think I saw said... Allison, yeah, go ahead and submit on behalf of your roommate. I don't normally allow that. It's just, I know Allison, so her roommate's not going to sue me. But yeah, go ahead, go, absolutely. And I've got time for tonight. Although it's taking me longer than usual because I don't have my crap set up. I'm going to whine about that all freaking night. There we go. Tim had said water and shapes as well. Yeah, water, it's all shapes. It's all abstract shapes. Everything is. Now, the difference with the water is it's going to be a little bit softer on the edges of the shapes, but it's still like your dark and your light touching each other. But notice the shape of like where it is light. We have a tendency, and we always look at water and we think that it's just the tops, like the top of a line would be where the highlight is. Now, that does occasionally happen if you've got water with like sea foam, where that sea foam is laying on top. You may have a line that's a little bit more defined. I don't even think I have it on this computer, so I can't pull up an example. Of course I don't. Of course this is the night of I complain about everything. Let me see. I don't think I've got, no, I don't have my own artwork pulled up on here. I can't pull it up. Maybe. No, it's too hard to find it. But you can occasionally do, you'll have these definite lines, and that's more for like a seafoam look, and it's seafoam in the distance, not up close. You'd have more texture to it. But let's go ahead and go on to the next person. Oh, we've got quite a few submissions tonight. If by chance we get too many for me to finish, we'll do it again next week. So no matter what, I'm getting to everybody tonight. I mean, tonight or tomorrow, next week, whatever. We have, am I even under? Oh, these are all in the inbox. Hold on, I need to move these. You, and you. Moving all of you guys to critiques. Normally I can get through critiques really fast. It is just, I am whiny about the whole not having what I need set up. I thought I was good. I was not. Now where did I put those? There we go. Okay, next. So I had one of these. Okay, this one is next. This is from Nikki. So let's pull these up. Let's see what Nikki says about this. Says, hey Lisa, I was inspired to paint my cat, Mulder, the Magnificat, after watching you paint an ally in one of your tutorials. When I got Mulder's eye right, I figured I could paint the rest of the cat. Attaches the finished painting in the photo I used. I did this before I knew the trick of tracing a photo onto the canvas. I don't think I ever fully got the proportions of his head and muzzle right, but I'm calling it close enough. Yeah, it is, yeah. My main issue, you've got a lot of good. So let's start with, you do not need to be this big. Okay. So this is super cute. If you're going for stylized, you nailed it. Adorably cute, because the eye, anytime you make an eye bigger, it adds to the cuteness factor. Just the fact, I knew one artist who used to say no matter, even though he said he was going for realism, it wasn't that realistic, but he intentionally would always make animal eyes bigger. Was not super, I mean, it always looked, you could tell, but it just makes things cuter. So you've got a massive cute factor going here. So that, like, as far as being stylized, freaking adorable. So you did a great job there. But if we're going for realism, let's talk about where we can improve for a more realistic look. And again, it is adorable. And now you know my trick now with getting the line drawing perfect and all of that, which is going to make your life so much easier anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's really just an anatomy issue everywhere. I mean, even the shape of the eye is not quite where we would want it to be, but you now know, I mean, it's hard for me to critique too much as far as the anatomy goes, because it's just not accurate. It's cartoon. Adorable cartoon, but still cartoon. So I still think this is worthy of hanging on a wall. So as I'm going, well, it's not accurate. That doesn't mean it's not amazing art for your wall or somebody else's wall if somebody else wanted it. So there is absolutely a place for that more stylized cartoon look. So I don't want you to be like, she said it's not accurate, I'm taking it down, I don't want to see it in. Don't feel that way. Just call it stylized and be happy with it. But next time, what I want you to do, get an accurate drawing. If that means, and see, this is a little different because you started with just the eye and then filled the cat in around it. So of course it's not going to be super accurate. So that's not even something to be mad at yourself for or feel bad about or anything like that. But let's talk about, let's see, you've got direction of the fur is something that we want to focus on. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to pull, we're just going to use pink and go bright. So if we look at the fur, like you've got your fur coming down in this direction. Oh, I don't have an undo button still. Wait, did that just work? No. Is anything undoing? Even my undo button is not. What is happening right now? There we go. I don't know. Okay, so the direction of the fur. Here, short and dots. You're going to get a lot of dots. When the fur is aimed at the viewer, you're going to get a little bit more with dots, like super, super short. But look at how the fur moves here and follows up around the ear. The ear would be here. The inside of the ear comes down. Like, I mean, there's a lot of anatomy just missing. It's like fur where stuff would be actually, that's not even in the right place. Come on. I'm not even drawing in the right place. But watch the direction of the fur. Watch how that comes down like here. Let's see, we look at the eye. You've got the, I mean, it's just anatomy. I'd have to redraw all of it to make, it's not minor. I mean, it's pretty big differences in the anatomy. It's weird because it's like, it's close. I see what you were looking at. But yeah, it's, let's see, like the black here would come way down for the shape of the eye. This would come up more. This comes up. So, you know, we've just got a lot of differences there. Watch the direction of the fur next time. So even if you have this drawn absolutely perfectly, we want to, let's just, oh, I could do this and make my life easier. You can be bigger. Yeah. Okay. So direction of the fur is something to watch. I really like how your eye came out. Really, really cute. Of course, if you were going with exact, we would have the pupil being in a slightly different location. I would brighten this a little bit more and pull the highlight out a bit more in those two areas when looking at your reference photo. You've got a highlight here, which doesn't really make sense. The highlight would be more here, and then you've got the corner pulling it in here. So let's go ahead and pull that. Will work. We've got this grayish blue color and not at all the right size. There we go. So we can pull that highlight a bit here. We've got a little bit, actually we're going to go darker blue highlight in there. And I would completely get rid of that. Oops, if we're going to go for what your reference photo is, you would have a more of a highlight. This is not going to be the right color, but whatever. You're going to get more. Actually, that is me and the dang undo button. Get more of a highlight in around some of these edges to make it just pop a little bit more. A little detailing in there. Oh, this pen does not even open these, smudge. There we go. Okay. So that kind of gives, you know, a few just little minor tips on that. Now the next, let's talk about the color of the fur. So you are close, but it also has this grayish tone. You are doing white highlights, which really should be unbleached titanium white highlights. So if you don't have unbleached titanium white, mix a bit of brown, a bit of yellow ochre, something else gets mixed in there. Red oxide would be a good choice with white. You want more of a cream color than as white as this is, because you've got the white and the black mixing together a little bit too much and creating a more dull gray. So if we look at the reference photo, we're going to talk a little bit about, actually, let's do this. Whoops, what am I doing? I want you to be you and just fill that in. Okay, that isn't what I wanted. Layer, God, I haven't done this in way too long. Okay, that is what I need. Let's pull you out of here. So we have these super dark, almost brown, or black, but still technically brown. Let's go ahead and get some of these. We want to create, let's see, something more harsh than that, and not quite so opaque. and way smaller. So when you do these, what's happening is you're doing confetti, a mixture of all the colors, but they're not. If we look at the reference photo, look at how they clump a bit more. And I don't care if they're exact, but they do need to clump. And look at already how much more rich that color is. But we've got these clumps of fur, not lines. Like here, these are lines. That is not how cat stripes would look. We want to create these clumps and clusters of colors, but we want them rich and pure. We don't want it completely faded out and completely, like what's happening, and I see this a lot, where an artist will do a few brush strokes or like fill in a whole bunch of white, and then a whole bunch of gray, and then a whole bunch of the other color. Don't do that. Focus on the location of these. This is actually really dense. I just made those brush strokes way too long to be accurate. But we want to get that richness in there so it's not so dull. And then let's see. The next color would be something like that. Look still how much more rich that brown is. And we're going to pull that in, but they clump and cluster together. They're not just individual confetti lines. Like you don't want to, that's a good way to explain it. Imagine taking every single hair color you need, shaking it up in a box and just spreading it out. That's what's happening. We don't want that. We want very controlled lines of where those clumps, how they move together, and they bunch together a lot. So that is one of my tips for drawing more realistic fur. And here, we don't want to think of this as actual lines, like you've got a black stripe here. You need to have these overlapping. Look at how that pushes into the black. It's not just a stripe. The hair needs to break up that line. We shouldn't see any line. I mean, even on the tiger, it's not a straight line. It's going to be broken up by other, when you're this close anyway, you're going to see it broken up with other hairs crossing over like this. It shouldn't just be like this. They overlap each other. So we want to make sure that we're getting that look of overlapping colors and not just stripes. Now here's a great example. If we look at this area here, you've got the dark, so let's get that darker. We'll build that up, make sure again that that is going the right direction because they're not. And then around that, we've got this deeper red before we hit the highlight, this transition between the black and that highlighted color. And that is happening all over. I mean, in several locations, we've got that. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the white. You've got a lot of white. The white is actually gray everywhere. There is no white, maybe here. Nope, still not white. So if we had white, it would be up in this corner. It's down here. We've got these kind of cream colors. The only white you're ever going to see on a painting, usually the highlight of the eye. There's very rarely other white. Shine marks on glass, shine marks on water. You will rarely have white. Now that's not to say that I won't push something and have a white highlight, but very, very little should be white. What you actually want are these darker colors in here. So we've got these medium grays, cream colors. We need things to be a lot darker. If you go solid white, now you're cartoon, which again, for this style, I want to say this style, I don't think you were trying to go for stylized, but it came out as stylized and it's adorable. So it works for this painting, but when you're going for realism, you're going to have a lot of darker colors. I mean, let's look at the color on the mouth here. So yours is solid white. We know that, and you're actually missing this whole, like, look at how this is in here, the jaw, the chin, and the other side of the cheek. We're completely missing that on this one. It would be somewhere out here, here. You've got that. You're missing the chin. So that's actually right there a large reason on why the anatomy is so off. I mean, there's a few things like the ear curves in. You've got it curving out. We've got, let's see, would be out a little bit. And then we've got the neck comes down. I would not have probably included that. I like the crop on the original photo, but so those are just a few tips of, let's see. So like here, we would have that, we have the chin. Look at the difference already and how much more just those little things make it look more realistic. But that also isn't white. It's, look at dark, dark brown. That's white fur, but that is in shadow, so we're super dark. And this is not a good job that I'm doing here. I'm just giving you an example of things you want to include. This whole area would be, I can actually just kind of, what I do when I do fur like this, make it super dark, or make it dark, and then come back through with the hair over it. Now you can put your white highlights and start getting that more realistic look. Now mine is not going to be super realistic because I am doing the crappiest rush job in the history of the world, but that is how I would layer that. Start with a darker base and then put those highlighted hairs on top. Anytime I'm doing white fur, it's going to be that way. The base will normally be a darker brown, a blue, purple, magenta, not white, not gray either. Usually gray is going to give it, it just looks dusty. It doesn't have that nice, rich, shiny color. So those are just a few of the tips I have for adjusting that to get a more realistic look. And watch the way the fur clumps and clusters together. You can put all the individual hairs in there you want. You could put 10,000 individual hairs. It's not going to look more realistic than me, who might put 50 individual hairs, but they're clumped and clustered correctly. The clumping, clustering, the length, the movement, that is going to make it look more realistic. Not put, because you put a lot of time into these little hairs. You put so much work into this. You could actually put less work, but focus on getting the values correct. So your dark's dark enough, your light's light enough. Watch the way that the hair and fur clumps and clusters together. And how long or short it is in any given area. And it changes constantly. So this one, you've got it going. You did change the direction in a few places, but it changes way more than that. So you are on the right path. And now that you have those tips that, you know, using the tracing and transfer paper to get the really accurate drawing, I can't wait to see what you do next. Make sure you tag me in your next. I would like to see you do the same thing over again, because you've got this. We just have those few things that we need to change around and really watch for making it more accurate. But you've definitely got the skill. You can do it. We just need to change a few things up and it will be that much better. Okay, next. Okay. This email was like a reply to mine from a long time ago, so I'm having a hard time finding. And I don't think we did this before. So this one is a portrait. And I'm fairly certain this came in. When did this come in? So yeah, it says July 15th that it was replied to. But I can't, the way that Gmail will line up replies to emails, I can't always see what somebody said. Like, or I'm not clicking the right thing and I'm missing it. Okay, here we go. This is from Holly. She says, so I'm working on another portrait. I'm working from a black and white photo and making it color. I mean, for realism, so the skin color, I'm kind of going on from imagination. That's always going to be a bad idea. I think I need to go lighter in areas like the forehead, cheekbones, but where I'm really struggling with are the hands. I originally did the hands as part of the reference photo. However, the top knuckles were very long due to the camera angle. When I painted it, it looked weird off, so I've tried to change it, but nothing is looking right. Oh, I have to have reference photos for hands. I can't, my husband, there have been times where I've had the same problem you had, and I had to have my husband come in and fix it for me. He's really good with drawing hands. He does comic book style drawings, so yeah, I may not be able to give you the best advice on the hands, unless I have a reference photo. If I have a reference photo, I am totally fine, but if I need to change it, hands are not my thing that I can do from my memory. Okay, so let's talk about this. You need to have a photo for the skin tone. You don't need to have somebody with the exact same skin tone you think he should have. You just need to have something close with the right lighting. You can adjust and make things darker, lighter, whatever you want. That's no problem. But I want a photo with hair. I want a photo, like I want to see that color when if I were to do something like this. Your, the knuckles don't look too long, by the way, at all. Your photo's fine. If anything, the hands just look little based on the photo, but yours actually look too little. I would have gone with what the photo had. So one of the things, make your darks darker. Your lights are everything is mid-range, and that's what gives you a more cartoony look. You don't have the dark darks and the light lights, and you're doing a great job, by the way. But I love the fabric. I think you did a really good job here, but there are a few things we're gonna point out. I can tell where you didn't have a photo on a lot of stuff. When you do lines, let's just do a new layer. So let's just start with the first things that are grabbing my attention. I want to talk about the clothing. Why didn't you do what I asked you to do? Okay, so if we look at the clothing, look how you've got this shadow. Oh, no, I don't even have the right tool up. That's my problem. And I don't have the right layer selected. I don't have anything to, okay. And the undo button doesn't work still. I'm gonna keep doing it. And then my undo hitting the keyboard is like not, I don't know why it's not working until I tap it with that mouse. I freaking hate this version of Windows. I'm having problems I have never had before. Hate it. Anyway, so let's look at, can we widen you a little bit? Not with that mouse apparently. There we go. Okay, look at how your shadow comes and stops. That makes no sense at all when you're going for realism. You would have fabric would need to be up and over that, creating a bit of a shadow there, but like you wouldn't have that's striped. It's not a shadow, if that makes sense. The shadow doesn't just go and end, and this is why you've got to have, when you're working with realism, until you've mastered fabric, until you've mastered all of these things, get a reference photo. So obviously we're changing the color of his shirt, but you would have a highlight on this. I mean, if you look at the reference photo, he's got a highlight coming all the way, that's a little bit lighter all the way through there. Make sure you've got a reference photo. If we look at here, look at his shadow here on this one. It is a light area here, and then there's just this little shadow in that little nook. Same thing here. There's a highlight behind the shadow, and it comes down. This is all a highlight. That shadow is inside this outer line. It doesn't just hit the outer edge and end. It makes that's just not how shadows fall. So and you've got a reference photo here, but I would also use get a good reference photo of a shirt that is more simple to what you want, that has the lighting, the color, whatever, to where you want. That's going to make a big difference. Now, the other thing, see here how his neck and his hair are just in deep shadow, blending into each other? Lean into that. Look at the shadow on the side of his face here. This is not that much lighter than this. This is super dark here. It gets a little bit lighter there where his neck is, which is way in. I'm pretty sure that's his neck there, and then this is hair. Go into that. His neck is too thick because you couldn't see it well on the photo. I get that. But also, you're missing out on these amazing shadows. Just go super dark on that. By the way, this is really good, but you wanted to go better, so that's what we're gonna focus on. If we look here, his hair should thin out a little bit here and then be more solid here. Thin out a little bit there and then be a little bit more solid. That's going to give you that more realistic look. These are the little details that you really want to focus on. You caught things like the little shadow here. You did such a good job catching a lot of this. Like such a good job. Likeness. If you wanted it to look exact, we got to be more exact. We need to work upside down a bit. So let me show you what happens and how much more you're going to notice things. Edit. We're just, I did it to the layer, not what I needed. Oops, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. not hitting the right buttons because I'm not seeing it. There we go. Vertical. And same thing. Image. That isn't, yeah, whatever. Why are you, oh, because I put a layer on you. I didn't need a layer on you. That's my problem. That's where the layer I couldn't find earlier went. Okay, when we flip upside down, and anytime you're doing a portrait, it could be a pet portrait, a people portrait, but people portrait especially, always spend a decent amount of time working upside down. You are going to notice things that you did not notice before. So let's zoom in on, whoops, both of these. And it's not the skin color. The skin color, the paint colors you used are good. Your shadows and highlights. Like you said, you thought you needed more highlights. Absolutely. And more shadows. You need to go both directions. You need to hype that up a lot. But anyway, so let's zoom in. I need to charge this thing because it is turning itself off way too fast. Okay, not exactly the same size, but we get a better idea of that. So, you did great. You know that the bottom lip needs to be lighter. Upper lip needs to be way darker though. I mean, look at the difference. I mean, we're dang near to black on that. Way, way darker on that. You did a great job. I love that the outer edge of your lips are very, very soft. One of the mistakes a lot of people when they do portraits make is that they make it look like lip liner, like lipstick. So you didn't do that. You did a wonderful job getting a natural look there. But because everywhere needs darker shadows, on the neck, the underside, this area, is that, I don't know if my mouse is actually picking up. Can you guys see my mouse when I move it? I don't know if I've got that set right. I might not. I can't tell if that's, yeah, I think you guys can see it. So this area here, look at how dark this needs to be. And it's kind of a little rectangle. It's not as smooth as what you've got. Everything's just too smoothed out. The eyes, you've opened too much. The eyes need to be, like his expression, he's just kind of squinting a little bit more. I would thin that out. Now, unless you're doing this for this guy, which this photo looks super old, so I doubt you're painting this for him, I wouldn't worry about it. The eyes look realistic, but when you're doing a portrait and you're trying to make it look more realistic, these are the things that you want to really focus on making more accurate. This shadow in here, I mean, it can be so much darker. I'm not gonna be able to paint well with this, my setup being so screwed up. It's funny when you get so used to something being a certain way, you change it and now nothing works for you. But we're gonna darken a lot more than that. I'm using black and that is not what you should use. And I still don't have an undo button. And this still is, there we go. I need you to be a little bit, actually, let's go up. Let's see if I can make this work without having the tools that I need. Probably not, but we're gonna find out. Now, I am using basically dark, black, brown for my shadows. That does not mean that's all that you should do. You should go with the darker version of what you have. But look at the difference in the way that these shadows mine's going to be super fuzzy. You can go down. You're being so careful with your blending, which you've mastered blending, so that's a good thing. Now we need to master values and not be afraid of, you're probably fine. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. And I'm not going to be super accurate with this brush, but you're getting the idea. If our darks aren't dark enough, so you caught on to that you needed to make your lights lighter, but the problem is if your darks aren't dark enough, your lights are never going to look light enough. That's probably a bit overdone there, but whatever. We have our darkest point here, kind of to the side. It gets a little bit lighter. This is not a great color for the shadow, so do not copy my color. I just want you to see the values. Oops, nope. Soften that edge with the neck right there. Let those fade into each other. I don't like this being white. I would switch that to a tan color or something that looks more like maybe rawhide or leather. Not white is white's a choice on that color there. It's drawing attention where you don't want it. Like tone that down. I mean, even red I would rather than the white. Just doesn't make a ton of sense there. Let's see. Let's see what this, just with what we did. No. Why are you not? Flatten, merge, visible, lock, hide layers. Why am I not getting? Oh, because I'm on the wrong thing. And that does not even count the highlights that it needs. The highlights are going to make a huge difference. But look at just pulling in those shadows, what a difference we can start getting. Oh, did I not? I mean, you start getting a much more realistic look. Now imagine pulling in those highlights on top of this. We want that really bright, like, make your brights brighter and your darks darker. This is something that is so common to be an issue with portrait, well, with anything. When you want it more realistic, darks darker, lights lighter, probably going to be a large part of why your work is not looking as realistic. So it's not about finding the perfect skin color. It's about the values. Are your darks dark enough? Your lights light enough? That matters more. Your skin tones are fine. We are missing all the shadows and the highlights. So, and the nice thing is, because you've already got it this far, it's not going to be that much more work to go in and make some of those differences. But look at how suddenly, not realistic enough yet, but look at what a difference that alone made. Now back to the fabric, that's going to be the same thing. Those shadows and highlights are just, they don't make any sense. You want to look, if you're going by the shirt that the photo has, you can see the highlights. I mean, I can see where the lights are here, and the shadows, the shadow does not go all the way to the edge. It kind of ends, and you've got a highlight around that back edge. The way that the fabric is going to fold, you really want to watch that more. And I would, if I didn't want to do the details like what the photo has, I would go find a photo of a shirt that I like and copy that, include that in what I was using as reference. While I'm still using maybe the shape of this one, the shadows and such, look at something that is more solid so you can really see the way that fabric folds, because you are going for realism. We want to make sure that those shadows and highlights are making sense. I think that's, yeah, your dark's just way, way darker for sure. Watch too when you add a background, because that fence post, ooh, I just threw my pen on the floor. That fence post is drawing for, like, well, I mean, I guess it kind of balances that out a bit, but you've got this kind of weird thing going here. I would want to probably soften the fence post, not have it quite as, which is funny because the fence post actually has more of your darks in it than the portrait does. So I don't want that fence post to have more contrast than my subject does. It is just, it's, I get why it's there, but it's creating kind of a weird composition, and it's too stark, I think, for the rest of this piece. Like, it doesn't really fit. It should be a lot lighter, maybe edges a little bit more soft, more faded into the distance. But yeah, there we go. Said I was worried about him being dark or being too dark with him being outside, but I can go darker. Well, if he ends up looking too dark, then make outside darker too. Get more interesting lighting. Midday lighting on a portrait is not something I would choose on purpose. I mean, sometimes that's the photo we've got, that's what we have to go with, but that original photo's freaking stunning. Go with it. Go, like, you're losing the greatness about that photo by softening it up and making it midday. I would consider changing the lighting in the background to make this make more sense. Maybe make it early morning, late afternoon lighting in the background so it's not so lunchtime. So yeah, those would be my tips on that. And then again, for his hand, I think that I would go with what the photo had. I don't think it's distorted that much. Move, mouse. What are you doing? Let me see you. And you. But once you get your shadows in there, it's going to make more sense. I think that's the problem. You don't have any shadows in the hand. And so that's making it look really weird. It makes the knuckles look weird. I would go with what the reference photo has. Those don't look weird to me on that photo. It's not, I don't see the problem there. I see a problem with not having your darks darken if your light's light enough. That's where the problem is. And the funny thing is, it's not that this is bad. You're just not finished yet. You haven't done the darks and the lights. That's really my main complaint. This here, okay, he has a little bit of an abscess going on. Whoops, not there. Oh, I don't have an undo button. Again, this part of the shirt, I'm gonna change everything. That should be almost instant when I'm doing this right. This is not shaped right. That's like around a tennis ball or something. It should be more like flattened out and then come down. So you've got a weird, I would definitely put a little bit of time into fixing that, but then all of this is in shadow. So I would take advantage of the lighting being so good on that reference photo and making sure that that's a part of your work. Okay, good job though. You are, and again, it's not bad. You're just not done. Put more work into what you've got. Okay. Yeah, you said the knuckles. I don't see a problem there. I would just go with what the reference photo has. I'm not looking at that and going, that's off. That needs to be fixed. So I would rather personally just go with what is on the photo. Okay. So next, like sometimes I thought it was going to be one of those where it's really off. That wasn't one of those cases that it bothered me. Let's see. We have Yellowbird, Katie 1. Pull the, oh no, don't save that. So let's see what we have to say about these. Oh, that's pretty. I like that a lot. Like, I don't know what she says yet, but I like that a lot. That's really pretty. Has a very like artsy, stylized feel to it. Very like, I like the colors better than the photo. That's really pretty. Okay, let's see what Yellowbird has to say about this. So I feel like the composition is going to offer something that I can't pinpoint. I was just going to add more detail in the feathers, maybe darken it up since it's backlight made up of rocks and waves. I didn't think I could pull off the little pebbles. What medium is this? Because it kind of looks pastel-y. I don't know what medium it is. I like it. Is this? Yeah, this is photoshopped. I think you can pull your highlights a little bit brighter on the subject. Yeah, around the edges and get a little bit more of that blue into the darks, the bluish color that's in there. Maybe not too much though, because you don't want to lose them in your background. I would get some, yeah, the defining the feathers I would certainly do. Are you here tonight? Does it say what medium this is? I love this though because, oh, pan pastel and colored pencil. Okay, I love the softness of this. The sky, the background, I don't want you to even touch. Like, I love the softness of this. It's not like super realistic. It is more stylized, but it's gorgeous. Now, one of the things that I like to do when I am struggling with, I'm like, is the balance good here? I like to just drop the rule of thirds right on top and see, let me find it. See where we're at. Sometimes that can fix things. When something's just not like, you're like, I don't know if it's quite right. And this is something that I do in the design side of things. Although the funny thing is normally when I do that, it already is following the rule of thirds just because you get to where you naturally do that. And not that the rule of thirds always has to be followed in order to look good. So I want to be very clear about that. There are certainly times where I have something centered where like, don't center things, center just looks better. So don't feel like you always need to follow the rule of thirds. But it is something that I will check myself on sometimes. You're pretty good. I mean, your bird is like, I might, if he was a little bit more like this, let's do this. This might help, which you're not going to change at this point. It's just something I would consider, on future pieces. And then I would typically have the water line be right at this area here. So mine's going to be a little bit weird, but this is what I would do to make that fit the rule of thirds. I would pull the water line up to this line or that horizon, water line, horizon, whatever. I would pull that up and have that at the skyline. It's just an easy way to know that it's appealing. That doesn't mean that every single thing has to be that way, but it's an easy way to know that's going to be pretty appealing. But then the bird I would shrink down and put over here. Ideally, I try to get the eye pretty close to one of my spots one of the cross lines for the rule of thirds, but I mean, he's lined up pretty well. So that may be a way to give yourself something that you like a little bit more. This isn't going to look good because, oops, let's do it this way. Different brush. I'm going to do just the biggest freaking mess you've ever seen right now. Oh, no, I'm not apparently doing that. Let's do it that way. Let's do this. And then let's pull this out. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Eraser. And I'm not on the right one, so good job. But just to give you kind of an idea of what I mean by fitting in, and obviously this isn't right. This is just a way for me to rush through, potentially following in with what the rule of thirds would be, or fitting to be a little bit closer. That's something that I like to do in the design process. You're at a place, I would not even be messing with that. Like, it is not worth it to me to undo everything you've done. I would just moving forward on your next piece. If you're not sure about the composition, check it with the rule of thirds to see if it is lining up in a way that you like. The water is stunning. The clouds, I love so much about this. But yeah, I would go ahead and do the detail in the bird. Just make sure he pops out a bit more there. Yeah, those are as far as composition, just what I would change in the future. But again, it'd be easier to start over if you wanted to change those things that I'm suggesting here. So, great work. I would not put more detail in the stump in the background. I love the roughness, the just kind of sketchy look to them. I would leave those how they are. I would pull a little bit more detail into the bird, not a ton, but enough to just make them stand out a little bit more. Beautiful. The color, I love your teals and the blues up against the dark, the water, so nice. Very stylized, very soft, really nice look. So there we go. Okay, Next. I don't think I'm going to finish these tonight because we did get a lot of submissions, a lot more submissions. So we will continue these next week as well, assuming I don't get these. So if you are a member on Patreon and you want to get in for next week, go ahead and submit. You can still submit for that. Oh, this is a lot of photos. Wait, let's read this first. This is from Linda. Linda said, this is Pan Pastel, piece of my cat. Let's go ahead and pull up the cat, and then I'll show you guys. There's a lot of reference photos. Oh, that's cool. Okay. It is done 8x10 Canson Me10s, velvet black, which is like pastel matte. I use Derwent, Stabilo, Carb, or I can't say it, Faber-Castell, Pitt, and something else I can't say, Gioconda pencils along with Pan Pastels. I took this picture and loved her pose expression. Unfortunately, it was a bit unfocused, so I took many other photos of Courtney and spent a lot of time looking at her to fill in the blanks. I know that's not the best way to do things. It'll work. But you tried getting a cat to pose for you. Of course I wanted it. You tried getting any animal to pose for you. Dogs are the only thing that I can like control where they look, only if the dog is trained. And even that with my own can be a challenge. Of course, I wanted it to look as much like Courtney as I could to still capture that soft, apparently I don't know how to read that word, contemplative look. I can read it, I can't say it. To the photo, I struggled with her chest and her arm on the left. I still think it looks too flat, but I got to the point where pastels started not sticking. What could I have done earlier to help that? Thank you for all your hard work and help. You're the absolute, oh, thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the photo, and then I'm gonna grab these photos. I see why you got a bunch of them. We'll just grab a couple of these. What are you doing up there, Beepa? Give me your French fry. See, I would still go with that, even though that photo is totally blurred. You can see the fur. Yeah, no, this is the way to do it. This is a great example. Oh yeah, very blurred. Okay, I see what you mean. Cool photo, cool look. Yeah, you can't see a whole lot. Really cool angle, but yeah, you're not gonna go off that. So this is even blurred, but see, this is one, this one here is one I'm like, okay, I can work with that. This one, I see, oh yeah, that is seriously blurred. Good job turning that into a finished piece. Okay, so we've definitely got some anatomy issues, for sure. I would definitely, and you may have traced this, but somewhere along the line, some stuff kind of went a little bit wonky. Now, one of the things you want to watch when you're, come. Do I have to put a jacket on for you? I brought one in. He doesn't stick well to bare shoulders, so I have a flannel. So I get to bake so that my bird is happy. Okay, French fry. You coming? Come on. No? Okay, he's like, you're not pistachio, I'm not coming. Okay. Okay. Did I put that on the right one? I don't think I did. I did not. You are supposed to have the new layer. Now I'm wearing a flannel for you for nothing. What are you doing? He's about at the time of the night where he will dive into my hair and no one will see him again till bedtime. Okay. This edge, so you're trying to pull out highlights that should fade into the shadow. The thing that you're going to use from this photo here is the lighting. That is, you've got some blue in here I would have included. You've got some, like, well, teal kind of color in there for the highlighter, or that grayish tone. And then look at how this fades into the dark background. When you've got something like that, where you've got this great photo, okay, I don't need to wear this if he's not sitting over here right now. If you have this great photo with great lighting and parts are super dark and fading into the dark, let them fade into the dark. Don't try to force detail and highlights that aren't there, because it doesn't make a lot of sense. Let it fade. Oh, hi. Do I need to, hi, it's a beep. Do I need to put this back on? Okay, hold on. I know, you're climbing into the hair. Now you'll be able to stick better. Hold on, I'm getting it. There you go. Oof. You good back there? Comfy? Okay. So what we want to do is just, oh wait, what brushes do I have? We want this to be pretty soft. That's probably too big. Oh, Linda, you sent me a nice size. That photo is huge. Good job. Like really big. Okay. And then I'm just going to tone down my opacity. And we are going to push that into that background. I'm even going to, well, this, I would pull more of that reddish tone in there. And that's definitely a color that you're missing are these beautiful, you've got like one stripe here, but we really want to get some of those red oxide colors in through this area. This arm, no, it's a tail. That makes so much more sense. I thought it was an arm, and I'm like, something is off on the anatomy there, because it's a tail, not an arm. Aren't you glad you're here for my advice when I can't tell the difference between an arm and a tail? This side of the face, this highlight, that eye is really standing out more. So look at how we can push that back. I'd, again, pull more of those golden tones in, tone this down. That's going to be in shadow more. You did good here. That ear is not shaped right. We're just going to put, look at just pushing it back. Just those few things, and we just fixed a lot of anatomy issues. Just because what's happening is you're adding, it is her arm? Really? Are you sure? Looks like a tail. You're falling. Move. That is a weird, I don't have cats, so I'm sure it looks normal to those of you who have cats. Me without cats. You aren't sticking well. What are you doing back there, sir? Pick your spot. Huh. Weird. Oh. Well, I see. Yeah. Her white toes aren't showing. Her white toes are super dark. You've got that highlight. I see. We need to draw. Okay, you know how I said we're going to let things fade into the dark and not work? No, not here, because that does not look like a, it looked like a paw, but I thought the paw ended like here, and it actually ends over here, and I did not see that. So yeah, I would get those whites in there a bit brighter, because she's got a white paw tip, doesn't she? Is that what color her? No. Wait, is that a highlight? What is happening? That's not her paw. I have confusions, because that paw is black, and that paw, that is white. What is happening, Linda? I need some explanations, because I have so much confusion is happening in my head right now. I don't know what I'm looking at. No, her paw isn't white. Her paw is black. Why is it white on that one? What is happening? Is it that paw then? In this paw? I don't know what I'm looking at all. At all. I would probably, honestly, if this was a photo that I was going to work on because I can't tell what the heck I'm looking at, I would probably crop it and I'm like, just her head. We're just going to forget about the parts that make no sense. So yeah, those are my main things, is just toning down, letting the black fall into dark. I'm telling you, that part with her arm is just not making sense to me. Is it because of where the fluff is here? The line is too harsh here? I'm not sure, honestly. I don't know. And I see you've got, let me look at these other photos. All I know is it doesn't look, like when I'm looking at it, I'm not seeing it. I'm not, let's see. That's a black paw. Yeah, that is black. Beautiful cat, by the way. I don't know what's happened in that area. It just looks weird to me. So, you know, okay, this is an example. You know how I talked about in the previous portrait where if it's weird, you may want to change it, but then I decided on that specific portrait, I wouldn't have changed the hand. I would change this. Something looks weird to me here on where the highlight, what toe is what. Is this? So this one is this paw. That goes to that leg. I don't know. I'm so confused on what I'm seeing. It's so dark. I would let it be darker then, I guess. But also this line looks so defined, and you're missing a lot of the oranges. I I would try to get her to sit like that again. I am super, the ring finger and pinky toes are white. You can barely see them against the white floor. Yeah. That lighting is very, very, I would have cropped and just done her head, in all honesty. If someone came to me and said, here, I want this portrait, I'd be like, her head? Because that's what I can do with this. I would try to get another photo of her sitting in a similar position, and I don't even care what the lighting is. But next, like, just keep an eye on her. I mean, you've already finished this one, but it's bent at the wrist. Fingers are spread a little, needing the air. Yeah, I guess. The fact that I'm like, I don't know if that's an arm or a tail, makes me think that it needs something to define that better. What we do know for sure, so let's just go by this photo. I'm going to move on from, I'm not wrapping my head around what I'm seeing. Let's look at here. Let's go. We need you to be much smaller. Look at how this rounds. You've got this. What are you even? Oh, that's why. We've got that could be rounded a little. Make those a little bit more round, those lines in there, just to round that off. That will certainly help. This area in here needs to get more of those orangey tones. It looks like just like toes popping out under the end of the tail curled around the body. Yeah, I thought it was the tail curled around the body too, and obviously I'm wrong. So those are a couple things I would change. This, let's see. This elbow, I think, comes down a bit much. That might need to be curled in a little bit. And again, we're going with anatomy stuff, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. Let's see. I'm being super picky because Linda is amazing and I've seen a lot of her work, so I might be pickier with her. You got her face at a very similar. That is a hard photo to work from. Like, seriously, you did a great job with the photos you were working with and what you did. You did very well. So yeah, my only real thing would be to tone down the shadow there. You've got a highlight in her eye here. The highlight in the back, when you get it into the darker areas, don't feel like you have to put a highlight. Like, there's a little bit of one, but it's a dark one on this photo. It might look, let's find out. It might look better if we kept that a little bit darker. I'm going to do a little bit more shadow right under that upper eyelid too. Pull a few little hairs out. Yeah, I would not define the highlight on that eye. I would tone that down a little bit. We don't always need a highlight. Like, if one of the eyes is in shadow, it may look better if you don't try to put a highlight there, because it's drawing attention to that back eye that, again, that side of the face is more in shadow. Let it be in shadow. Even this, so if we look at the coloring here, look at how light this is compared to this. The color, dang undo button. Come on. If we go with, let's see, nope, that's not what I need. What was I just looking at? God, oh, yeah. Here's the light under the eye part that is really, really light, but it's much darker as we get over here. And you did go darker, but I would go darker. You've got this orangey tone that you're completely missing on that side of the body. I would pull that in a little bit more and then darken that up some. Yeah, I know I'm not super helpful on this. You did exactly what I would suggest. Get photos of other, to where you can see her fur. You did a really good job on the fur. You've got it going pretty much in the right direction. You're really good there. This here, I would change that. I think that might help some. One of the things that is standing out to me is here, we've got this is not, that's kind of highlight. Oh, you can't even see that. This is highlighted a little bit more than this. Let's separate that, and then you've got these shapes. See how defined those shapes are. And on this one, this whole area is a little bit kind of one thing here. I would do, you've got the highlight here. I would lighten this just a bit more. Another thing is maybe pull a little bit more coloring in here. So if you've got more, if we look at this coloring, look at that grayish tone. It's actually showing up as a grayish green. I would go with more grayish blues because that always looks better as a highlight. That's probably too much blue though. Let's tone that down. But you can pull some of your highlights with a bit more blue, which would look amazing if you pulled out that red oxide in some of the other areas, but pull that highlight. Separating her neck, because her neck looks really weirdly thick. Between her markings in that position, in the shadows and highlights, her neck looks too thick. It looks like you drew it wrong when you didn't. Like my first thought when I saw this was, oh, we've got some anatomy issues. You really did not. I mean, besides, I think the cat's arm has got some, I've got questions about her arm. You let her know. But you did it right. And I think here, the reason that it looks weird is we're missing, I'm overdoing that highlight. But look how I just thinned her head out so much and pulling that grayish tone. Same thing here. We can pull, I should just make my brush bigger, but I've got issues, so I'm not. So here's that toe. You go with that foot. I might even, no, I don't like that. I lied. I love being able to test things on a tablet before I commit on the artwork and realize I hate it. You can even pull a little bit of highlighting around her head. You've got a highlight in here somewhere. It's not a highlight, that's the color of her fur going down there. I'm just doing it with blue because I'm too lazy to switch. But blue is not the color that you should be doing. But like these few little shapes in there, oh, that looks terrible. Fine, I'll do it right. This one, let's see. That is, this color is the only place you've got that. It should actually be more defined up on the, see that orangey red color, like Putmortem? That should be right up into that ear as well. And that's the same color I would start pulling into the outside edge of the face. So, come on. We've got that on this ear. Let's make you a little bit bigger. This ear needs to be pushed back into shadow as well. We've got this orangey tone here. I would pull that orange into that eye just a little bit. Her knot tail. I think what's weird to me is that this arm is standing out so much. I don't understand why, if she's partially in the dark, that is weird, the way the light is hitting there. Anyway, move on, Lisa. Everyone knows you're confused. We've got these reddish tones. Look at already how we start pulling to where it starts making a bit more sense. It's not so flat. Well, the arm still doesn't make sense to me, but we're really missing some darks in here on the whiskers. That's just 1, 2, 1. We're missing. Okay, that breaks it up a little bit more. Kind of, actually this I want to pull into shadow. Let's push you back. Not that would be too much. Let that ear fade out and just kind of disappear into the shadow, just like the top of the head, disappearing into the background. And we also want to pull out more of our highlights. On the light side of the face here. A little bit closer. So those few adjustments, minus my obvious confusion, we can adjust. See how it changes not that much, but it makes it look like I did a bunch of changes to the anatomy. I didn't. I pushed some areas into the, well, I guess I did, because I changed the shape of the ears, but I pushed areas into shadow that you didn't want lined and didn't want so well defined, because you're trying to add it from a different angle from the other photo, which I get why you did that, but that's one of the things that makes that first photo as out of focus as it is good, is the lighting. So where something disappears into a shadow, let it disappear into a shadow. Don't try to figure out where the line goes, except maybe on whatever's happening with that leg. I'm not letting that go, am I? You didn't do anything wrong with that leg, by the way. That is my brain is for some reason not seeing it right. But anyway, those are the changes that I would make on this. Now, my bluish gray highlights are a bit overdone, a lot. Those should actually be soft, a lot softer. I would not go anywhere near that harsh. Soften those a lot. I was just sketching those in there. But anyway, so those would be some of the things that I would adjust on that. Really good job on working from a very difficult photo, and that is exactly what you want to do. Like if you get a pet portrait, you will oftentimes get a pet portrait from somebody who has a pet who has passed on. Well, they obviously can't get more photos for you. So in that case, try to find another animal that's as close to that one as possible to see which direction the fur should move. Like this, a similar breed, which is much more difficult when it's a mixed breed, but a similar breed, similar colorings, you know, similar position, get a better idea of what the texture of the fur looks like. Exactly what Linda did. And Linda sent me more photos. There were a lot of photos of the cat that she sent. Close up of the paw. Close up of the paw that confuses my brain so badly. So yeah, very, very good. Okay. Yeah, we are definitely continuing these critiques next week. Especially, I don't even know if more got sent in. Yeah, we'll finish up next week. I mean, we're doing more tonight, but make sure. Oh, we've got some that went to spam. Whenever I do critiques, I have to constantly check my spam folder because it sends way too much of them there. Let's move you. Pat, you will be next week. Moving you to critiques. Okay, back to critiques. Where were we? There was Linda, so we now have Karen. Okay. I don't think we've got a reference photo. Let me see, little photo. Okay, let's see what Karen says. I do not have the original photo because I took the reference photo from 3 different photos. It's supposed to be realism. It's 18 by 20 acrylic on, sorry, itchy eye, acrylic on what is called a northern shoveler duck. Male and female. I thought this was finished, and when I took it to be framed yesterday, a friend of mine said, why are the beaks so different? Actually what I was trying to do was have the female looking forward and the male to the right and the male looking to the horizon. Yeah, that looks like, I mean, I don't have the reference photo, but I guess I didn't capture this. How can I correct this? I think you did capture it. That is absolutely what it looks like to me. I think this might be a situation of me and your friend. Okay, this is not a very big photo, but I think this might be a situation where your friend is doing what I'm doing with that cat leg, and my brain for some reason is not wrapping around what I'm seeing, even though it looks correct. I don't have the reference photo. I don't know what those ducks' beaks look like, but it does look to me like he's looking this way and she's looking a slightly different direction. I don't think there's a problem there at all. I would frame it and your friend is looking at it weird. Sometimes that just happens. My my dad, I remember one day I had done this huge 48-inch tall, I don't remember how wide it was, tall and thin. And it was a mermaid in and out of the water coming up a rock. This was so long ago, like I must have been 1920 at the time. And a very long time ago, my dad comes in and he's like, oh, that's really cool. You know what would make this look really good? And we're like, what should it need? And he goes, you should draw a mermaid. Me and my mom were like, I mean, I'm not saying I was good at the time, but it was clearly a mermaid. There was no doubt. His brain just didn't see what was there. He thought I painted a whale for some, I don't know why. I still don't get that one. But sometimes somebody will look at something and be a little bit like they just don't see it right. Like me and that cat leg. My brain, for some reason, will not wrap around what I'm seeing in that with the shadow and the highlight and the cat's markings. It happens. And I think that's what's happening with your friend. I don't know. Let me look up what these ducks look like. But it looks like he's looking one way and she's looking out that way. I don't see the problem at all. This is freaking stunning, by the way. The lighting, the water, oh my God. I'm assuming you did the beak right because you've got everything else so perfect. Like, this is amazing. This is one I would certainly write off as far as the direction. And if you had the reference photo, I would write it off as your friend just not really seeing what is accurate. So the red-billed one. I'm not seeing any photos where their bills are like that. So I can't say if that's what they're, like, it's kind of got a funky looking, like, because of the way that it curves, but I think that that's probably just what they look like, and I'm not seeing a good photo of that angle. But no, I think that this is just an issue of sometimes you look at something and you don't see it right and you can't convince your brain to see what's really there. It just happens. So that, should there be a little shadow under her beak, might this make it look more like she is looking more towards the right? I hear the mirror shadow on the neck. I don't think so. I'd need to see the photo. I mean, realistically, I need to see the exact photo. But when I looked at this, I'm seeing it exactly how you described it. I would not look at this and go, the beaks look weird or different. It looks like his head is up and turned towards the viewer. That's just what it looks like. Or no, that's her. I think that's the girl. I'm just not seeing, oh wait, that looks very similar. Is that the photo? I think this is the photo. Image. I found the photo. Where is, open the image. You're not letting me do that. I'm gonna have to do a screenshot. Oh no, wait, can I save it then? No? Okay, we'll do this. No, I can save it. No, that won't let me save it that way. Let's do a screenshot then. Can I copy? No, I'll just do a screenshot. Okay. Let's take a look. Where did I just save that? Apparently not the right place. Crap. I hate when I do that. Wait, let's see. If I did a new one and then I hit save, where does it save to? Okay, it did save to critiques. Refresh, maybe? There we go. Okay, screenshot, here we go. Found the photo. I did not mean to do that though. I was trying to put you in your own one. Oh, I like yours better than the photo. I like the more tan colors that you chose. Okay, let's shrink you down and scooch you a little bit over. Your whites are a bit on the white side on the female's neck. I think that's the female. I'm assuming the fancy colored one is the male because, you know, birds. Yeah, the highlight could be a little bit, no, I wouldn't even do it though. Like her highlight right here is the area that's supposed to be the brightest is right here. These are toned down a lot more, so you could do that. I don't think you need to. You could even darken up a little bit in here on her beak. I think you could get the darks a bit darker. I think it looks finished. None of the things that I'm pointing out, I keep saying her, him, whatever. None of the things I'm pointing out are things that must be done to make this better. But if we're going by the photo, I would make my darks a bit darker, both on his beak and on his head, or like the shadow around the neck. I would go a little bit darker there. You've got more of a, like where the reflection from the water is coming here, you've got more of the reddish tones. It's pretty. It's not accurate, but it's pretty, so I don't think that needs to be changed. The eye is much more rounded. You've got his eye is a little bit more oval, and it should be a bit more rounded. So that might be something that I would change, is pull that up, like just make him look like he's had way too much coffee. Oh, speaking of, I forgot about my coffee. And my gosh. I would round that off more. You can see on this one, it's more of an oval. On yours, that should be more of a rounded one. Her eye, you've got more of a highlight on hers than what is in the photo. Leave it. There's a cute factor to that eye. I would not change. It's a little bit bigger than what you've got. It stands out a little more, and I love it. I wouldn't change that at all. That is super cute. I love how much blue you pulled on her and in her feathers. I think that looks amazing. This feather right here is one separate feather. So you could separate that feather if I'm getting nitpicky right there. Instead of right here, it's just kind of an abstract shape, but it really should be a feather right there, separate from this feather. Those are two different feathers. And again, I'm just being nitpicky now. I wouldn't change anything on the water. I think the color choices you went with, I love. Okay, so her beak is a little bit big. You did come down on this lip is longer than what I would be. This is right here. Okay, I changed my mind. You know how I said I wouldn't change anything? I would change this. So let's add another layer. I was not going to do questions. I can though, because this will be the last one I do for tonight, and then I'll finish everybody else's next week. Also, again, new Patreon members, if I have to do 3 weeks of this, I will. Whatever we need to do for you guys to get, like, because I'm behind because I didn't do critiques last month. So if there are too many next time, although hopefully I'll try to get some of my stuff set up. We'll see if I can get it set up correctly. Hopefully this will go faster for me next week. But anyway, if you have a few questions, you can leave those and I can go through that. But what this thing here looks a little, you know, the girls that are loving the lip injections and the filler and they look ridiculous, but no one wants to tell them. That's what this duck has going on right now on that upper underlip. And the great thing is this is going to be so easy for you to hide because it's just the background color. So this here, we are going to... No, but it looks good on you. No, it doesn't. You look ridiculous. Calm the lips down. I'll tell you because no one else wants to. Anyway. We need to make that more opaque. And let's get that color. And let's just push this back because this should line up with that black line. And then we've got the highlight of this yellowy color. This is a really small image, so I can't really zoom it in much for you guys because it's already, I've got it double what it came in as, so it's super pixely. So I can't really get some of those little details. But that... maybe a little bit more of a highlight here. And look at the difference in the shape there. And I don't know that this solves what your friend was seeing, but we just took the lip filler out. It was just a little bit too plump right there. So I'm glad I found the original photo. I would probably go ahead and change that. If you want to make some of the darks a little darker, you can. You don't really need to. The only thing that I'm like, this is a must, what I absolutely would change is the lip filler beak. Just tone that down and you will be all fixed up. No matter what, it still looks to me like she's looking more like this way and here where he's going that way. I don't have a problem with the perspective isn't off to me at all, but the lip filler beak I would certainly change. And maybe you can make his go a little bit shinier. Look how dark that blue is that we can pull in. Make just a little bit more with the darks. If you want to, that is more optional. Whoops, that is not the color. Oh, my, not having an undo button is really annoying. But if you can get some of those darks to be a bit more rich, it just makes it more striking. And it might be the photo, but I like to see my darks on. In a case like this, those are such rich darks. I would probably pull those in a little bit darker in those areas. And it just makes everything look a little bit shinier. And again, I'm just sketching it quickly, but yeah, few minor changes are what I would adjust for. So those are my tips for you. And then let's see, we'll wrap this up. We've got a couple minutes with questions. Allison, I know you said, I don't know if you sent, no, I don't think I got anything yet from your roommate. I'll do that next week. Unless, did you send it to me? You might have sent it to me through Facebook. I'll do, but either way, we'll get it next week we'll do that one too. Let's see. I'm being extra, I want to be extra generous for everybody because honestly, I skipped last month's critique, so we need to put a little more into getting that set up for you guys. So, okay, was there something we had, let's see. I'm just reading through these last questions in case there was something. Jason said, I miss having everyone get together on YouTube and having great connection and instruction over the years. Yeah, I mean, I definitely like doing the live streams, but it wasn't making sense. And the cool thing is, let me show you guys what we've been doing since we've, some of the stuff we've been doing. So the same 2 hours, sometimes it goes a little bit longer, but sometimes it's a lot shorter. But being that we're able to focus on the artwork now on the live stream, so I'm not worrying about trying to make YouTube algorithm happy, which wasn't working, and that's why I stopped. I couldn't do it. It was crazy because I could have a complete lesson and it still wouldn't be searchable on YouTube, because YouTube search doesn't work. And until they fix that, it didn't make sense for me the way things were going to keep doing that. But the cool thing that has happened is we now have, let's see, what live streams. Look at how much better the artwork we have been doing on these live streams. So you know the quality that we were getting. And it's not that it was bad, but I feel like we're just able to do so much more. Like this was, this one was colored pencil with powder blender. Oh, you guys can't see it, hold on. I never do the colored pencil and pan pastels because, colored pencil and powder blender, because it takes longer than what I have time for on a live stream. This is the sort of work that we're able to do now on our live streams, our weekly Patreon only live streams. We're getting such better quality from what we had before. This was, I think, last week's. This is colored pencil and pan pastel. We still do a lot of colored pencil and pan pastel, but now we can also do colored pencil and OMS. We can do, let's see, I'm pulling out, what else do we do? We had, here was one. This was colored pencil and OMS. Nope, that's the reference photo. You know, I love when I accidentally grab the reference photo instead of the finished artwork because I genuinely cannot tell the difference. Which one is the finished art? I think you are the finished art. Is this the finished art? I don't know, because it looks so much like the original. So this one was colored pencil and OMS. That was something, even as simple as that was, that's just not something that I ever had time to do on a normal live stream. what do we else did we do? Oh, the orange slices. I love how these came out. This one was a ton of fun. So yeah, the quality of the work that we're doing, it's still beginner friendly. These are still beginner lessons, but I'm able to just take a little bit more time, explain a bit better. Oh, the sheep. My gosh, I love how this sheep came out. Like, this is crazy that we got that done on a live stream. And every week we're well, minus when we do the critiques, we're doing another live stream where they're just much more involved than what we were doing before, the old way. Oh, the white rabbit. That one was really, really loved how this came out. Where is the photo? I've got a bunch of photos. I guess we'll just grab this one. That was one of the ones in acrylics that we did during the live stream. So I'm able to just put a lot more into the live stream, make for better lessons, and they're good beginner lessons too. That's the thing. As much as they're like, well, they don't look beginner, they look hard. No, these are all beginner lessons that this is what I would start a beginner on. Will a beginners look exactly like mine? No, but this is how you get to looking exactly like this. The problem is there are so many beginner lessons on YouTube where it's really more almost toll painting, craft art style, that are, they're the painting with the twist style. You're never going to get good doing those. They're fun. I'm not saying you shouldn't do them, but you're never going to get good. I want to help artists get good. I want to help them take their work to the next level. And I'm able to better do that now the way that the current live streams are set up, where I can put more time focusing on this. I'm not trying to worry so much with the YouTube algorithm, and we're doing that. And I appreciate that you miss the get-togethers. That was fun. That is certainly something I also am missing. I don't know if that's, maybe we can do occasionally just a hangout Q&A thing. No one will find it on YouTube. That's the problem. The YouTube algorithm just doesn't, if you're not like drama filled, it just doesn't do well. So yeah, that is what is going on. Karen said, thank you so much, Lisa. I wish I knew how to use Photoshop. Apparently so do I, because I have been having a nightmare of it tonight. Let's see. Brittany said, Jason, are you paying for the subscription? Yeah, and you join. We have a live stream, Jason. It's $6 a month. You get every single live stream we have, all the paywall ones. You're not going to get art lessons for that cheap. Now, we're not doing the Q&A, but I answer questions as we work, because there's less, there may be 20 of us, 30 of us during a live stream, but you can watch later on. The other thing that has been incredible about this change is that I'm also recording when I do the live streams on my good video camera. So the quality is so, like, during the live stream is my normal, webcams aren't great, but I go through after, I remove the artwork from the webcam and change it out with, or the video, I change it out with the video from my good webcam. So the lesson is so much more clear. It is so good. So anyone can watch at any point later on. It is just the quality for patrons has skyrocketed compared to what I was doing with the free live streams on YouTube. It is just so much better all around. I miss the Hangouts too. Totally get that. But it's $6 a month. And I get it. We're all struggling financially at this point. So I understand that. But also as far as art lessons go, you're not going to get anything. You're not going to get this quality of lessons for that price. When I used to teach in person, and this was, 15 years ago, I was charging, $20 for a 2-hour lesson every week. Teresa knows. Teresa used to be one of my students. So yeah, $6 a month for everything is I can't feel guilty about it, because I gotta pay my bills too in order to keep doing this. So yeah. Yeah, $6 is the bottom tier, but it also gets you every single video. The only thing, you don't get postcards, you don't get, which I need to get caught up on those again. You don't get as many reference photos, but you get every single video, you get every single live stream. That is at the $6 tier. So yeah, that, let's see, can I draw some peacock spiders? So here's the thing with spiders. I love spiders, seriously. Here's Geraldine. Here's one of my spiders. I don't know if you can see her. There she is. You get to be fed tomorrow. I have jumping spiders. Love spiders. However, not everyone does, and they freak out a lot of people. So I might do something special. Now, see, I might be able to do that though, because we're doing Patreon only. I'm not trying to keep everyone happy. If I did that on YouTube, I'm upsetting a lot of people. But with just, Maybe I can. Maybe I can for the Patreon stuff. I may do that, and then just have like people know it's a spider. Don't watch that week if you don't like spiders. So that actually does. See, this new way with Patreon opens up so many doors. I hadn't even thought about that. I can do that now. So yeah, I may do. I've got some cute jumping spiders. So I might actually do that. Lily, yours is $4 because you've been a member forever. I think whatever you were signed up in is what you stayed at. Because I locked in the. Like grandfathered you in at that, everyone in at their prices when a few years ago I raised the prices. So it is $6 now. Let's see. Let's see. Why do I get notifications that, why do I get the notifications, or is it getting connections with it? I don't know what that is. You also, if you're on Patreon, you get access. Our Facebook group we don't use as often. Maybe I should post more in it more. Grammar. But you also get our Discord. So you can post, we've got our sketchbook challenges, which it's $6 when you get that too, where it's every day. It's basically like what is it? Inktober that people do, but I just give you a list for every day of the month of a subject to sketch. Do stick figures for all I care. Some artists get super crazy and do amazing full pieces out of it. So it's completely up to you, but it's fun. You can post those in our Discord group or our Facebook group. You've got there's other, like, people just chat in there. They talk about art supplies. They talk about everything in the Discord. So it's just a lot of fun. Do the spiders, Marie said. Yeah, I think we will do a spider sometime in the near future, especially when we come up closer to Halloween. I'd love to get one of my jumping spiders sitting on a pumpkin, like one of the mini pumpkins. I think it would be a super cute piece, and that way, because it's the Patreon only, if those who are afraid of spiders don't have to watch that week, so we're good. So yeah, I think that's a good way. Teresa said, seriously, Patreon is a great deal. Thank you. Well, you know, Teresa, because you used to pay $20 every week, huh? Arts with Ryan said, hey Lisa, I'm a new Patreon member and I was wondering if you would release a YouTube review of the Marco Renoir color pencils. You asked me that and I don't know if I responded. I don't remember them. So no, I've got the ones, like whatever I said about them in that video, that's so old, I don't even remember. I don't remember what I liked, what I disliked, I don't remember. I know they're not light fast, that's the biggest issue with them. But I think there was an issue with that company. Maybe I did reply. There was some weird issue with that company. Like I was supposed to do a promo video for them and I was like, yeah, I'll do that. They sent me the product for free. I wasn't making money. Like it wasn't a paid one. They just sent me the pencils to review. And if I remember correctly, the pencils are fine for, they're super cheap. They're not light fast, but for a sketchbook, they're fine. The problem I ran into is that the communication with the company who was doing it just stopped. Like they weren't giving me the information I needed to do the video. And if I remember correctly, I could be mixing them up with another company though, because this was so long. Like it was a long time ago, 2016, 2017, it was a while ago. I'm old. I don't remember that far back. And they didn't give me what I needed to make the video, and so I just didn't make the YouTube review. But if I remember correctly, the main issue with them, I don't think you get that many layers with them. I think they blended with OMS fine. You don't get that many layers with them, which is fine, because that's similar to Lyra Rembrandt. You don't get a lot of layers, but they blend so well that you don't necessarily need that many layers. But they're not light fast is the biggest issue with the Marco Renoir ones, whatever. That for a sketchbook, fine. For learning, but they're not as good as any of the other pencils. They're not. I don't think I was able to get detail as well. But yeah, no, I don't know that I'll be doing a review on that. I don't even know if I still have those pencils. I might. I should do a review, huh? That wouldn't be. I'm not going to say I won't. I take it back. I'm not going to say I won't do one. I would have to do a new project and do a new thing. That might actually be a good one. But I don't have specific plans for it, but maybe I should. I have to see if I even have those pencils anymore. Also, thank you for being a Patreon member. You're now giving me ideas on maybe, I have a very long list of things I want to do. I just need to get to them. One of the big things, surreal work. I'm getting a lot of requests from surreal work. Joseph just asked for that too. So one of the projects that I'm working on, I'm still reading the original Alice in Wonderland. I always thought it was the queen was the thing the rabbit was afraid of. She's a duchess. Didn't know. Anyway, the 1861 book or whatever it was, the original, I'm doing a surreal, I guess you would call it surreal, an Alice in Wonderland themed, it's not really surreal then, Kinda. But I want like a checkered floor. These are the plans I have. A background that's really dark, like dark teals, dark grays, something like that. But a checkered floor that just fades out into it, a black and white checkered floor. A realistic white rabbit, so not one wearing a top hat or anything, but there might be a top hat sitting next to him. There'll be a vial that says drink me, a little cake that says eat me next to him. I'm just reading through the story to see, I might include the mouse that was at the beginning that is not, again, I'm not going for the Disney version or any movie version. I want the original book. So I'm reading just for little things that I want to include out of that for myself. So that will be a big project video that'll be over on Patreon sometime when I start that. Let's see. Mona Lisa said, hi Lisa, you know the live stream of the green butterfly on the flower. You asked if we would be interested in seeing it continued in more detail. I never did that, did I? I wanted to, and then I didn't, and there was a reason. Was that before or after I broke my foot? I think it was after I broke my foot. No, that was before. I don't know. Everything kind of got held up during the whole I can't walk because my foot is broken sort of thing. So I'm getting back to it, and it's still sitting in my studio. So that would make for a great video, and I like that, and I need to do that for you guys. I will work on that. I'll work on that in the very near future because it's still sitting in my studio. It's like not even going to take that much work for me to go through and do. So yes, I need to do that for you. Ever think of doing a drafting film piece? I think I did that once. I didn't love it. It was cool. It's so different than how I work. I have a feeling if I kept doing it, it might be something I'd end up loving. But for like my first try, I was like, meh. I don't know. Did I ever try sculpting? I did. So here's the problem with sculpting for me. You look down. My neck, I have ankylosing spondylitis, and looking down at all is like out. So even with watercolor, I will never be like a pro watercolor. No, I can't say that because I do sell watercolor pieces, so I am a professional. But I'm not like watercolor, like the way that you would traditionally work with watercolor, because I have to work upright at an easel. It's not how you work with watercolor, because the way you would typically want it to be able to spread out. So just because of my neck and such, I can't, as much as I love, like what little I've sculpted, and not that I was great at it, but I loved it. But yeah, it's not practical for me. That and the arthritis in my fingers. I'm telling you, I'm old. Although all of these health issues have been there, you know, those start in your teens. So with ankylosing spondylitis. Yeah, so that's not necessarily an I'm old situation. But yeah, Tim said, broken foot, no fun. No, it was one of the most stressful experiences. Not the actual break. Like, it sucked. I wasn't sure if I sprained it or broke it. I know I was in a lot of pain, but everything always hurts me. So I just, like, with my arthritis and stuff, pain is just how I live. I'm always like, pain is normal for me. So I can I'm sensitive to it, but also it's like I can I'll live. The problem was my foot swelled up so bad, and I showed my friend, and she was like, you have to go to the doctors. That is not a sprain. So I went 2 days not knowing it was a sprain. I was just hobbling around on crutches, and then yeah, it was broken in 3 places. So yeah, I did good there. Yeah, it sucked because it was 6 weeks of no weight. So I had my little scooter thing, my knee scooter, but I still have like, you can't probably see. I have a very large, let's see, my floor is a mess under it because I'm cleaning, but there's my fish tank. Okay, it's super blue in the lights, and that doesn't look good on in this lighting. But I've got a large reef tank over there that is much more colorful than what the camera picks up. I still had to do water changes on that, and 3 other tanks, 3 smaller tanks, but still, that had to be done. Like, everything was so hard. Then my husband had to have a surgery. He had 6 weeks. He couldn't lift. So I'm out there on my broken foot. After 6 weeks, I was able to walk in a boot, a cast thing. I'm out there in that thing mowing the lawn because Matt now couldn't. It was the most stressful last, like, 3 months. It's been a thing. So, and then I got sick, and I've not been feeling it. It's been a whole, this is Lisa whining about everything, but things are getting better and more back to normal. So hopefully I'll start getting like that Alice in Wonderland painting. I have been planning on that for a while, and it's just everything, like just going and finding the canvas was so hard with the foot on the scooter because I couldn't get into my storage closet. So like everything just kind of got pushed back. But yeah, that is what's been going on over here. All our critters are good. My big female clownfish died, which sucks. She was 6 years old, which is not very old. I think she got egg bound. She could have choked on a piece of food. Those are really the only 2 options, because she was otherwise perfectly healthy. So I'm working on getting a new mate for my current clownfish. But other than that, all our critters, like you got, I think you can see French. I don't know. Can you see French fry back here? Here. My baby bird, French fry. He's a year old now. He's great. He's adorable. Yeah, everything over here is super, super calming down. Matt's all healed. Matt can hopefully mow the lawn this weekend, and so I don't have to do that and edge. But yeah, let's see. Mona Lisa said, thank you, by the way. I love the suggestion of painting the live stream of a jumping spider. They're super cute. Yeah, I'll have to get some photos. My bigger girl, what are you doing over there, Charlie? Would be good for that. And the Allison Wonderland painting. Yeah, and more surreal stuff is for sure on the way. That's something that I've been really wanting to do, and just everything kind of slowed me down. But anyway, thank you guys for joining. I will be doing, we will finish the critiques next week. Same time, same place, all that. You don't have to watch live. If you submitted and you're not able to make it, you'll still be able to watch whenever is good for you. But yeah, that is it. Thank you guys, and I will see you next week. And hopefully, maybe I'll fix my pens, and it's such a mess over here. I hate getting new computers, especially with the new Windows, which is terrible. But anyway, thank you. Bye, Kaneho. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys later. Bye.